Advanced. The first time I saw the word, it wasn't a diagnosis, it was an adjective. Advanced, as in advanced maternal age, as in you are over 35 and your pregnancy now arrives with a label you didn't ask for. Some of you have heard the older version of it, geriatric pregnancy, said out loud in a doctor's office or a clinic about a body that is decidedly not geriatric. I've watched that word land on women's faces, and it doesn't feel like information. It feels like a verdict. So let's start there because the word is not the verdict. The word is a door, and today we're going to walk through it together. I'm Dr. Avareena Schools-Cropper, Dr. Av going forward. And I spent more than a decade in federal health policy at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the federal agency that runs Medicare and Medicaid programs, and the largest payer for healthcare in the United States. I had the honor of serving as Chief of Staff and maternal health expert in the Office of Minority Health, which means I spent my career building the systems that are supposed to keep you and I safe, reading the data, sitting in the rooms where the rules get written. And I know exactly where those systems are built to catch us and exactly where they let us fall through the cracks. I'm also a woman who carried two pregnancies after turning 35. So I know this from both sides, the one who helps design the systems and the one who has navigated it in the wee hours of the morning. Welcome to High Risk and Highly Capable, a show for mothers stepping into this later in life and for everyone who loves them. For the next few minutes, we take the words spoken about us and turn them into tools we can use. Honestly, no talking down and no sugarcoating. Today, what high risk actually means and what it doesn't. Here's the first thing I need you to hear, and I want you to hear it plainly. High risk is a measure of how much support you might need, not a verdict on who you are. It's a flag that gets you the right help at the right time, period. In clinical terms, advanced maternal age just means you'll be 35 or older when you deliver. That's the whole definition. It's a number, not a character flaw. And here's what the label will never tell you. You are part of a fast growing community. More women are choosing motherhood later on and for good reason, finishing degrees, building careers, growing families through paths like IUI, IVF, and surrogacy. The average age of first time mothers in this country continues to climb year after year. And those of us at the end of that curve are the fastest growing part of the whole story. Since 1990, births to women 40 and older are up nearly 200%, more than 100,000 babies a year. So if you feel like the only one in the waiting room with a few pesky sprouting gray hairs, look again. You are not alone. You are a part of the wave. But I won't hand you vague comfort because vague comfort has never kept a single woman safe. There are more of us than ever, and the system around us has not actually caught up. I know because I helped run parts of it. Here's the other side in the most recent federal data. In 2024, 649 women in this country died of pregnancy related causes, about 18 for every 100,000 births. Age changes that picture, though, very sharply. For women 40 and over, the rate is 62.3 per 100,000, nearly 5 times the rate for women under 25. And it isn't only age. That same year, Black women died at roughly 3 times the rate of white women, a gap that income and education don't explain because it was never really about them. It's about a system built in too many places with someone else in mind. Now, hold on to one more number because it might make you angry and quite shocking at the same time. The CDC estimates more than 4 out of 5 of these deaths, around 80%, are preventable. Let that sink in for a moment. Preventable. That single word is why this show exists. I'm not telling you this to frighten you. On the contrary, I'm telling you because you'll be fine isn't a plan, and you deserve one. When a provider says high risk, what should come to your mind is more attention, closer monitoring, earlier access to care, more eyes on you. The trouble is what happens on the other side of that door, though, because here's what no one tells you when the word lands. For many of us, clinical care ends right at the exam room door. You get 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, which might include a blood pressure and weight check, a measuring tape, a urine sample, and a quick see you in 4 weeks. Then you go home to the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of the day where the real work of a high risk pregnancy happens. The 3 a.m. worry, the is this symptom normal? The insurance form you can't decode, the question that only surfaced as you climb back into your car from an appointment. I remember sitting in my office after a prenatal appointment, looking at my wall of credentials, certain I understood this system better than most. And I still was unsure. And I thought, if I have questions with all of this information and access to knowledge that I have, what about the women who don't have the same work experience? That gap between your visit and the rest of your life isn't a reflection of you. And I can say that with authority because designing these systems is the work I do for a living. You cannot discipline your way across a gap that was built into the blueprint. Once you can see it, you can stop blaming yourself for falling in and start asking for what fills it. So let me give you something to carry, not a feeling, a tool. The next time someone calls your pregnancy high risk, turn the label into a plan with just three questions. Put them in your phone or on an index card and bring them to every appointment. Question 1. What specifically makes my pregnancy higher risk? Not high risk in the abstract, the actual reason. Your age, yeah, we get that. But what else? A number, a history, a condition? Make them name it. Precision is the beginning of safety. Question 2. How does that change my care plan? If the risk is real, the plan should reflect it. More frequent visits, a particular test, a specialist. But if the high risk changes nothing about your care, then it's a label, not a plan. And you're allowed to say so. Question 3. Who's watching this between visits and what do I do? This is the part we skip, the gap. Ask who is responsible for catching a problem early. Ask which symptoms mean to call before the next appointment. Ask what to do if something feels wrong on a Tuesday night. What changes, who's watching, and what do I do? 3 plain questions, and they walk you from uncertainty into a pregnancy you can actually stand in. I call this episode What High Risk Actually Means. So let me answer it in full. High risk does not mean you did something wrong by waiting. It does not mean your body is broken. It does not mean you should spend 9 months afraid. It means you've earned extra support, more care, more information, and more advocacy. And here's the part the label hides. The years that earned you the word advanced are the same years that made you deliberate, resourced, and clear about what you want. You didn't arrive at this pregnancy in spite of your age. You arrived with every everything those years taught you as either a professional, as a friend. This is an advantage. Bring it to every appointment. It takes a village to carry a mother, and you're allowed to gather yours. So, a partner, a provider, a sibling, your village should be composed of those people who love you. And when those clinical 15 minutes aren't enough, which they rarely are, you can have a coach in your corner who decodes the system with you, asks the hard questions with you, and stays with you between visits. That's actually why I built Mother by Design, my coaching practice. So no woman has to cross that gap alone. So to the woman who just saw advanced on her chart or heard high risk said over her belly like a quiet warning, that word is not the end of your story. It's the first line of a better one. A pregnancy watched more closely, supported more fully, and deliberately designed around you. Because a healthy nation was never one where individual women simply tried harder. It's one that built systems designed to guarantee everyone access to high quality care and to deliver on that promise. That's the country I spent my career working for. It's the work behind this microphone, too. You are not a risk to be managed. You are a mother to be partnered with at every stage and, yes, at every age. I'm Dr. Av, and this is High Risk and Highly Capable. Bring your 3 questions to your next appointment and come back next time when we get into how to actually be heard in the exam room, even when it feels like the system isn't listening. Until then, you are not high risk. You are high risk and highly capable. I matter, you matter, we matter. Take care of all 3. See you next time.